everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. My name is Hope Marie Padesio, and today I will be discussing to you Halliday's Function of Language, a framework for understanding communication. Halliday's Function of Language explains how people use language for different purposes. This framework categorizes language use into distinct functions, revealing how individuals express meaning in various contexts. This framework divides language into functions, showing how people convey meanings in different situations. First of the functions will be the ideational function. This focuses on how language conveys experience and ideas. It allows speakers to represent their thoughts and feelings about the world around them. The next one will be the interpersonal function. This enhances the social aspects of communication. It helps individuals establish and maintain relationships through language. The last one will be the textual function. It relates to how language organizes information cohesively. It involves the use of cohesion and coherence in discourse, guiding the audience through the message. This function is essential for effective writing and speech.
Hello everyone, my name is Irene Bilwis and I'm going to give you a 3 example in every 3 categories of Halliday's framework. Since Miss Wine tackled about the topic, what is the definition of our 3 framework categories, I will give a 3 example in every category. Since the category is 3, I will give 3 examples in our ideational function, interpersonal function, and textual function. The ideational function is, we'll have the first example. Yesterday, I watched a fascinating documentary about exploration. And number 2 example is, the water cycle starts with evaporation followed by condensation and precipitation. Number 3 example, I feel really nervous about the upcoming presentation. And let's move on to interpersonal function. Interpersonal function, first example is, good morning. It's great to see you today. And number 2 example, can you lend me your notes for the test tomorrow? And number 3 example, I'm really sorry to hear about your loss. Is there anything I can do to help you? Let's move on to textual function. Textual function, the 3 example first is, firstly, let's discuss the causes of climate change. Next, we will explore its effect. Number 2 example, this report is divided into 3 sections: introduction, analysis, and conclusion. Number 3 example, on the other hand, some researchers argue that this approach is less effective. And that's all for our examples, and let's move on to the next person.
So, do you want to learn about microlinguistics branches? Well, the branch I'm about to discuss is whatchamacallit? Anyway, do you want to learn about those, huh? Then, you're in the right place, kid. Welcome aboard! First things first, what is microlinguistics? It is a scientific study of language and structure. Linguistics has 2 branches, micro Oh, okay. Microlinguistics and macrolinguistics. And I'll be discussing the former, which is microlinguistics. Yes, I still have the memory. Microlinguistics has 6 branches, but I'll be talking about 3 of them, which is phonology, phonetics, and morphology. Phonology and phonetics sound similar, but they're different, alright? Let's make this simple. Phonetics focuses on the production of sounds themselves, while phonology focuses on how different sounds form various patterns and structures. Lastly, morphology is a study of word formation. Morphemes, as we call it, are the smallest units of meaning that can be combined to make new words. And that's just the beginning. There's more to microlinguistics that meets the eye as the next YouTuber will be discussing the next 3. Then, see you next time!
Wait, there's more. Let us now proceed to the study of the formation and structure of sentences. What is that? That's right. It is called syntax. Syntax covers topics like word order and grammar rules such as subject-verb agreement or the correct placement of direct and indirect objects. Let's try to observe the change of meaning in this example. First, Batman only fights crime. This means fighting crime is the only thing Batman does. But what if we change the order of the sentence? We have here now, Batman fights only crime. Now this means Batman doesn't fight anything except crime. Remember that one of the rules of syntax is when you change the placement of a word, it often changes the meaning of the sentence. Now that we already know how formation and structure of the sentence affects the meaning of a sentence, let's dive into the study of the meaning of words, phrases, and sentence itself. The semantics. Semantics looks at literal and implied meaning and how these meaning can change across different contexts. For example, to call someone an angel doesn't mean they inhabit heaven. Semantics lead us to believe they had a lovely characteristics or traits. Overall, semantics is concerned with understanding how language speakers produce meaning using linguistic structures and how listeners and readers understand and interpret that meaning within context. And finally, the pragmatics. It is the study of how context influences how we interpret and make meaning in a communication. For instance, we have here a pragmatics in the use of irony. What a great day! Saying this phrase while standing in pouring rain would be ironic because it implies disappointment with the current situation despite saying otherwise through their words. Sometimes the literal meaning of what is said is not the implied meaning, right? There you have it, guys. We finally get to discuss the branches of linguistics under the micro concept. Let us now move on to the macrolinguistics.
Good day, I am Sir Ken. So today I will be giving an overview about the 3 linguistic disciplines, which are psycholinguistics, sociolinguistic, and neurolinguistic. So first we have psycholinguistic. It is the mind-language connection. In psycholinguistic, language is not just about words. It is how our mind processes them. So in psycholinguistics, we explore how children naturally acquire language skills. Second was the way we mentally process and understand speech. And the last one is the cognitive mechanism behind language production. So think of a psycholinguist as a mind detective studying how we transform thoughts into words and how we decode the speech of others. Second was sociolinguistics. It is the language in society. Language shapes and is shaped by our social world. Sociolinguistics examines how different social groups use language differently. Second was the way language varies across regions and communities. And third is how social factors influence language evolution. Consider how teenagers speak differently from their grandparents, or how professional jargon develops in different fields. These are sociolinguistic phenomena. So for the third and last, we have neurolinguistics. Neurolinguistic is the brain-language connection. Our brain is the hardware that runs the software of language. Neurolinguistic investigates which brain areas control different language functions, how brain damage affects language abilities, and the neural pathways involved in speaking and comprehension. By studying patients with brain injuries, neurolinguists have mapped out the language centers in our brains and helped develop treatments for language disorders. So, before we end, the key takeaway for this is while these fields study language from different angles, they work together to help us understand how humans communicate. Psycholinguistics looks at the mind, sociolinguistics examines society, and neurolinguistics focuses on the brain, together painting a complete picture of human language.
Everyone, and we will continue to explore and know the other branches of linguistics. Now, let's talk about discourse analysis, computational linguistics, and applied linguistics. First, let us now talk about discourse analysis. So, what is discourse analysis? Discourse analysis is a study of how language is used in a largest context. Beyond individual sentence, it focuses on how communication is organized, how meaning is constructed, and how context, power, and other social factors influence the language. It looks at coherence, cohesion, speech, act, and other relationship between speaker in both spoken and written forms. Some example of this is political speeches, media discourse, courtroom discourse, and so many more. And the next branch of linguistics is the computational linguistics. Computational linguistics is a branch of linguistics that is field of study that uses computer science and algorithms to process, analyze, and understand human language. It involves developing models and tools for tasks like speech recognitions, language translation, and text analysis. Some example of this is machine translation or Google Translate, speech recognition or Google assistants like Riri, Alexa, and so many more. And for the last part is the applied linguistics. So what is applied linguistics? Applied linguistics is the study of how to use language knowledge to solve real-world problems. It includes areas like teaching language, testing language skills, understanding how people use language in society, improving translation, and using technology to process language. It covers areas such as language teaching and learning, language assessment, and so many other areas. In summary, this report has provided a comprehensive analysis of macrolinguistics and its branches. Thank you.